Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for yet another episode of fighting fantasy related content, but not a playthrough today, more an update because it has been a while since last time I made a video, and I do not want to spend the beginning of my next playthrough video going through all these things that I might mention in this one to do with why it has been a while and etc etc. Suffice to say, I was in the middle of playing Daggers of Darkness. It has been such a long time now that and I feel so disconnected from the immersion of playing this that I think I'll just leave it in the DNF pile, the did not finish pile of books, because I'm not going to enjoy so much starting over. I'm not going to enjoy starting in the middle because I've lost that connection with what was going on, how I was thinking, my plans, my strategy for my next moves, which choices where I had different options and I took one, but I was thinking maybe I should do the other. I've forgotten all about the clues and hints. All those things together make it so much harder to enjoy keeping on playing, I think, and I'm not going to feel that excited about starting over again. So I think I'll just leave it for now. And start on this one, Armies of Death, which is the next one. Before I do anything else, I also want to give a little shout out to my new Patreon member from December, actually, but I haven't had a chance to do the shout out. So that is to Richard Hawkins, who became a member in December, which rhymes, so it must be true, as some people say. I do anyway. So incidentally now, all my Patreon patrons are called Richard. If your name is not Richard, you are also eligible to join my Patreon. It's not for Richards only, just so that is clear in case you were wondering. So Richard Hawkins, great guy. I quite like him. I've seen some of his stuff on YouTube. He's done some things to do with retro computing. I also mentioned some fighting fantasy thing in one of his videos, and he's been a regular visitor and commenter on my videos the last several years. Very nice indeed. So thank you, Richard, and welcome to the club, as it were. I would hope that I get more exciting stuff on my Patreon one of these days, but at the moment it's mainly to show support and actually support my creative work, for which I am very grateful. So now the thing about the reasons why it took me so long now to get back into making a video and why I can't really continue with Daggers of Darkness is so many things got in the way. So first of all, there was Christmas. You may be familiar with it, you may have heard of it. It's an interesting concept. And then I had a cold, and then for extra fun I had a second cold which lasted as long as 3 weeks. So I very often get colds at Christmas, but usually they don't last that long. So I had a cold and it took about a week, which is my usual length of a cold, and I thought, oh great, my Christmas cold is over. And then I got another one and it lasted 3 weeks and it was absolutely terrible. And just to add insult to injury, while I had a cold, my back got sore as well. I think it is because of all the coughing and all the sitting when I'm used to going for walks every day, and then you cough and you just sit all day, and it's not good for the back. And so, yeah, that was that thing. And then as I was getting closer to the point where I really could start doing some more video making, my camera stopped working. My main camera, the one I use for my overhead shots, so like this one here on my desk. I don't have anything here right now, just put something here just for fun. So this is a nice and sharp camera that is a little bit out of focus at the moment. I can see, let's see if I can if I can focus it up a little bit while I'm here. So this is I used to have a bridge camera, a photo camera, as my main overhead camera, which has served me really well. I think that looks better. Over the years, I've had it for more than 10 years, I think, altogether. And the amount of video footage and stills I've taken with it is quite impressive, and I think it's really been worth its price in terms of how much use I got out of it. So that's quite a successful camera, I suppose, and I guess it was time for it to retire. I sold it on eBay very cheaply for parts not working. Somebody might know how to fix it, or they might use some of the other bits and bobs for parts for other cameras that are fixable. I don't know. That's out of my hands now, and whoever bought it seemed quite happy with it, so there you go. I'll leave it to them to sort out. So yeah, so I got a webcam instead of that, which is because this is the one I'm using for content creation. It's a lot easier. I can, because it's a webcam, I can keep it on the gooseneck stand rather than needing an overhead rail that I have been using until now. It's a homemade overhead rail that I've had over my head here in my room for my other camera. And then, so all that was sorted out. I got my new camera, and then my computer stopped working. So it's a lot of things going on all at once here. My boot drive, the boot drive of my computer, which was an M2 NVMe drive, which is the fastest, which is great, decided to not be recognized by the BIOS, by the motherboard. And I bought a new one just in case that would sort things out, and I tried the old one in both the slots. I tried the new one in both the slots. No joy. So clearly my motherboard doesn't recognize the M2 drives anymore. It doesn't, it's not in connection with the interface or something. I'm not going to take my 7-year-old computer to get repaired at this point. So I'm going to use any workaround I can, and the other interface, the IDE interface, and the SATA interface works fine. So I just got a new SSD installed, reinstalled Windows, and then the drives that I use for my data, which was spanned across 2 volumes. Wasn't recognized when I reinstalled Windows, so I had to format those and re-download everything from Dropbox, from the cloud. And my OneDrive, I didn't, after reinstalling Windows, I didn't have the, I wasn't able to move files or open files from it. I had to format that as well, and then reinstall OneDrive and download everything from the cloud there too. So my computer took almost a week. Especially since OneDrive, as you might know, is really slow. Dropbox is quite fast, actually, so yeah, that's great stuff. But OneDrive took almost a week to download everything. It would have taken longer, but I used some of my old external hard drive backup to pad it with, but of course, many of the changes that had been made since I took that backup wouldn't be reflected in what I copied over, so some things had to be downloaded as well. So, and then of course you have to reinstall all your applications, you have to get all the serial numbers, you have to set up your web browser, you have to log into all your sites, you have to get your passwords and your usernames. It's a lot of work, but it wasn't actually as stressful as it has been in the past because nothing was lost. Everything was available to me on the cloud. I was able to restore every single password I needed to restore, and I changed it to something more sensible, maybe. And I also have now a much better record of all my serial numbers of things that I actually use. I was able to tidy out quite a bit and just remove the stuff that I have installed, or not reinstall the things that I have installed that I just never use. So yeah, so altogether not too bad, but it has kept me from doing some of the things that I like doing, like making videos, and it has disconnected me even further from the playthrough that I was in the middle of playing Daggers of Darkness. And so all that together, the timing, all the other events in between, have made me decide in the end that I wouldn't enjoy continuing so much on Daggers of Darkness, being now totally disconnected from the narrative and the immersion of it. And so I think I'll enjoy more playing a new book. And of course, the thing is, if I enjoy the book, you are more likely to enjoy it as well. That's my theory. And so you don't want to see me sitting here and forcing my way to playing something I really don't like so much. It's I can't imagine that'll be very engaging. So yeah, that's the general gist of it. That's what I've been up to. That's what my life has been leading me on to. Now, all that said, I'm not sure how much time I will have for making videos these days, because there are some other things that I need to sort out as well. We have some things we need to do to our house that needs organizing and things like that. So that might distract me many of the occasions when I otherwise might have had a chance to make videos. But yeah, there will be more videos, there will be more playthroughs, and there will be Armies of Death. A bit unsure about this one, to be honest, because I do understand that you are some kind of general, or you're leading some kind of army, and I'm not sure that's a concept that appeals to me personally as something that excites me. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it'll be a bit different anyway, and I'll give it a shot, just like I do with all the other fighting fantasy books. I give them all a shot, and I do play a little bit just to get the impression of how they are. So right, I think that's all I wanted to communicate with you today, and I'll also get to check my synchronization in a moment, see how that goes. Of course, the most important thing at this stage is that my video feeds are in sync, to the extent that you can see them both at the same time, and then I can, of course, resync the audio in my editing software. But ideally now, all the sound and the video should be synchronized properly while recording, saving me a lot of work later on. That's the whole concept of it. Now, which is less obvious, by the way, also since last time I've been recording, I've also have a new audio interface as well, which has other advantages, because that means I can also, it also works as a mixer, and I can play my music through it. So when I'm doing my music, my videos creating music, I don't actually have to change my setup at all. It's exactly the same thing, and I can record it on my interface mixer as well as on the computer. So yeah, it's a different setup, and hopefully my computer will hold up a while longer now. I don't, yeah, hopefully it'll last longer, because it's nice to have a bit of continuity. But if it does stop working, I'm already looking into it, so I sort of know what kind of computer I'm looking to get to replace it with when the day comes that it needs replacing. And it'll probably be something a bit smaller than what I have now. I now have a full, well, it's a MIDI tower, I suppose, computer. It's quite large in my office, and of course it is 7 years old, and which means that anything that is made the last few years of any size, pretty much, including those tiny little things like the computers, they will be more powerful than this one. And the only thing, of course, is this one has all the storage space, because it has so many hard drive connectors. That's the only thing, but yeah, well, I'll make that work. Anyway, I think that concludes my ramblings for the day, and I hope to see you again next time when Armies of Death is going to be on the program, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you there. And thank you again to Richard Hawkins for joining my Patreon and showing his support. Also, he's one of the people who's bought music from me on Bandcamp, by the way, which is very nice. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, Patreon, all those things, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now. Bye bye.